Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily on a Monday morning, July 22. I'm Tommy Christsan. Glad to be here. Glad to have you there as we get ready to mix it up. A busy weekend, a busy week coming up, and we've got Sports Shorts Daily for you. Don't forget to like and share this show. That helps everybody involved. I am located at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. Great way to keep up with everything that they've got going. And today we're going to have co-host Jeff Palermo. Jeff's going to join us, and he hosts Tiger Rag Radio Tuesdays, 6 to 8 p.m., 107.3 FM here in Baton Rouge, online, all that good stuff, Tiger Rag Radio. Jeff, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Tommy. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. It's football now. I mean, I know it's July 22, but I think we could say that, whether it's college football at LSU, the Saints in the NFL, the high school teams are gearing up. Football is here, and I think that's a good thing.
It certainly is. It's been I still think it's been a pretty newsy summer, considering especially all of the movement by Jay Johnson in the transfer portal and the recruiting as he rebuilds the 2025 baseball roster. And, of course, LSU football recruiting, just like last year, it really has exploded after the 4th of July holiday. Brian Kelly been working the recruiting trail very hard, getting some big commitments as they solidify a potential number one recruiting class for the class of 2025. So there's still been a lot to talk about, but I'm really excited to see the Saints get back on the field this week out in California, and LSU is not too far behind.
Jeff, let's start with LSU. SEC media days have come and gone. The media, they've only been like 9 out of 25 years when they've got the predictions correct at the top. But picked LSU 5th. Ronnie Rance and I last week guessed 4th, 5th, somewhere in that neighborhood. Your reaction to the Tigers being picked 5th by the media of the SEC?
Yeah, it sounds about right to me. I think 4th is probably the highest. You have to put Georgia and Texas ahead of LSU. I mean, Georgia is they're going to have a season where maybe they lose a game. Texas's schedule is so easy that they should be able to finish in the top 3. And then Ole Miss, I think at least on paper, has a better roster than LSU. And so you got to put them at 3rd. I guess the question is, who would you put between LSU and Alabama as the 4th place team? Now, I understand Alabama ended up finishing 3rd, but they're going to get the benefit of the doubt over Ole Miss because, of course, the Crimson Tide have been there and done that, even though they don't have Nick Saban this year. So the question is LSU going to finish in 4th? So that's where they're at. I think at 5th, you could make the argument that Missouri deserves to be in the top 4. Offensively, Missouri should be very good. The question is how good are they going to be on defense after losing a lot, including their defensive coordinator? So in the middle of the pack there, that sounds about right as far as being involved in that second tier of teams in the Southeastern Conference. And to me, the bigger question is, though, will LSU make the 12-team playoff? And I really think that it's probably less than a 50-50 chance that LSU actually makes the 12-team playoff. That to me is the bigger question, and how many teams from the Southeastern Conference. It's going to be around. It's going to be around that number 5 number as far as how many teams get in there.
Well, let's remind people, you're going to hear this a lot in the coming months. There's no more East and West division in the Southeastern Conference. All 16 teams are stacked in there. No more East and West, so keep all of that in mind as we go forward. LSU, of course, will open up on September the 1st. September the 1st, they will open up against the Southern Cal Trojans in Las Vegas. So we're going to get you there. I think we have a little technical difficulty with Jeff as he'll jump off while he's gone. Court Street Cafe, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. They do a great job of putting out the lunch specials and the breakfast and drink specials, dinner specials, the Saturday night steak nights, and famous Sunday brunch. Do all of that here at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Jeff, again, I reminded the folks no more East and West Division in the SEC. Going to take a little bit to get used to. Jeff, somebody in August, in September is going to say, can LSU win the West? Or where are they in the standings? But they're all stacked in there, top to bottom, 1 to 16. Top two teams will play in Atlanta on December 7th for the SEC title. Jeff Palermo, let's talk New Orleans Saints. Training in Irvine, California, because they're doing some work on their facility and on Airline Drive in Metairie. Practices out there closed to the public. Veterans report tomorrow. We got a lot of news about the Saints last week. Bunch of injuries on the offensive line. Offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk out for the year. Tight end Juwan Johnson, Chase Young going to miss the first 4 games. I don't know. Tough offensive line. I don't think Derek Carr plays 17 games. But your thoughts on the Saints as we're on the eve of training camp?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Tommy? This is maybe one of the least anticipated years we've had in a while for the Saints, right? I just don't. I think people are intrigued maybe by Clint Kubiak and whether he can get more out of this offense, but I don't know. To me, I just don't think the weapons are there. I think Alvin Kamara has certainly lost a step. Chris Olave is a good wide receiver. I wouldn't say he's at the top of the number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. Rashid Shaheed is your number 2 receiver. He's more like a number 3 receiver in my mind. You mentioned the questions on the offensive line and having to start 2 new offensive tackles this season. And then Derek Carr is who Derek Carr is. He's going to look good. He's going to make some plays for you. He's going to be a good leader for you. But he's not a great quarterback. He's an average quarterback, and he's been an average quarterback his entire NFL career. And it's shown as far as his win-loss record as a quarterback. So to anticipate that this team is somehow going to win 10, 11, or 12 games this year, to me, it's a long shot. They had their opportunity last year when they played one of the easiest schedules probably in NFL history and played all those teams that had quarterback issues or at least not proven quarterbacks, and they couldn't take advantage of it. This year, the schedule's a little more difficult. That defense is a little bit older, and Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu. So I don't know. I'm not really anticipating much out of this group. And then, to top it off, you got a head coach in Dennis Allen who he's a bland kind of guy. He's not someone that he's going to fire up the fan base. So this should be, I don't know. I think maybe for some Saints fans, you're looking forward to the year because you want to see the Saints play. But to me, the best thing that might happen for this franchise is that the season doesn't go very well and they finally take the steps to blow it up and start over and draft a quarterback in the first round and get a new head coach and see if they can't start rebuilding this thing back up.
There's going to be a ton of NFL storylines around the league. In fact, this morning, Lamar Jackson, Ravens quarterback, has been sent home with a significant illness.
Yeah.
Significant illness. No details. I don't know. Something may come out later. You got talk of many players holding out, not reporting to camp league-wide. You're going to have some guys that want to be traded. You're going to get some injuries in training camp. Many storylines will start surfacing. Saints played their first exhibition or preseason game on August 10th, so got a little time for that. But lots of NFL stories are going to be filling the wire today and going forward.
Yeah, it will. It will. And you got a couple teams, the 2 teams that are playing in the Hall of Fame game. They've already started their training camp. So you got that going on. And, yeah, this is where it starts to get a little newsy. The Alvin Kamara situation, we'll see how long that drags on. I don't anticipate he's going to report tomorrow. I would think he's going to hold out for a few days or, heck, maybe even a couple of weeks as he tries to get a new contract. And that's a tough decision for the Saints because, again, I go back to what I said a few minutes ago. I certainly think he's lost a step. I mean, you just don't see the kind of explosion that you saw from him when he was at the prime. And to give that guy a new deal to me is I can understand if the Saints draw a line in the sand and are not willing to do that.
Well, and the other thing is the last 3 seasons he's averaged less than 4 yards per
Yeah,
carry.
right.
That's not going to get it
No,
in the
no.
NFL. So a lot of question marks on the Saints. Some of those questions will get answered between now and the season getting going. We'll just have to wait and see. Elsewhere in the world of sports, pro golf, the British Open is concluded. Xander Schauffele wins his second major of the year, and for the first time since 1982, that an American has won all 4 of the golfing majors. You got Scheffler winning the Masters, as Schauffele wins the PGA and the British Open. DeChambeau wins the U.S. Open. Schauffele shoots 65 yesterday, a precision round. It's been no mistakes that it's being talked about. But I like the fact that an American has won the 4 golfing majors for the first time since '82. So that's what's happening in the golf world. And now certainly everybody going to turn to football, even the hardcore golf fans.
Yeah, right. I think the PGA or those that run golf made the right decision in moving all the 4 majors out of the football window, right? Not having a PGA championship anymore in August. So, I was kind of interested to see what Sam Burns would do. He was right there. He was up there. He was, one shot off the lead, I think, going into the final day, and then just had a horrific back 9 yesterday and ended up shooting an 80. So you had that. You had quite a leaderboard going into the final day, but I don't think we ended up seeing the drama that we were expecting.
Major League Baseball Hall of Fame Day yesterday up in Cooperstown. Jim Leyland, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, and Adrian Beltre gave their speeches, got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Leland, longtime manager, won a World Series with the Marlins. Adrian Beltre, I'm a big Rangers fan. Everybody knows that. One of my favorite players. He just kind of looked like he had fun playing the game. Some say he was a compiler. He just put up numbers for a long time. Was never really great, but 21 years, 3,000 hits, and all of that good stuff, and pretty darn good at the third base with the glove. I was happy for Adrian Beltre.
No, I think he's more than deserving. You're right, because he did it all. Not everybody that gets in the Hall of Fame, has won multiple World Series and stuff like that. And baseball is a hard game. I think we're seeing that more and more as batting averages, go lower and lower in Major League Baseball. And I know Beltre didn't necessarily face the pitching that you face today, but to be as consistent as a hitter as he was for a couple decades, I think tells you a lot. I know Todd Helton, some people say, well, he played at Coors Field or he played in Denver and that helped boost his numbers. But again, a very just a consistent hitter. Joe Mauer was, in my mind, one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball for a long period of time. So he certainly deserves to be in there. And then Jim Leyland, you mentioned the World Series win with the Marlins, but he had a great run with the Pirates, had a great run with the Detroit Tigers too. So I think that's quite a sign when you're able to have success at multiple franchises as a manager.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, pretty much old school guy, but tons of wins, tons of success. Obviously Major League Baseball, again, everybody's shifting their focus to football, but a couple of tight races going on in Major League Baseball. Astros have been hot. Your Cubbies are a couple of games under 500. So it'll be interesting to see not just how the rest of the MLB season unfolds, but all the guys with Louisiana connections or LSU connections, how they're going to do down the stretch. And the story of the summer has been Paul Skeens starting the All-Star game for the National League, and many saying he could win Rookie of the Year. So for us baseball guys, there's plenty to pay attention to.
Well, the Pirates, I think, are going to be an interesting story in the second half. They start off the post-All-Star break by taking 2 out of 3, one of the best from Philadelphia, one of the best teams in major leagues. And they're right there. They're right there as far as potentially gaining that third wild card spot in the National League that's really watered down once you get past the Dodgers and the Phillies, and the Braves have all sorts of injuries. So there's really those wild card spots, they're completely up for grabs. And the Pirates, if they can find consistent offense with the starting pitching that they have, they have a chance to sneak in there. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Pittsburgh decides to do with Paul Skeens in the second half. I think when they probably brought him up in May. They had a number in mind as far as how many innings they wanted to see him throw in the major leagues. And he has yet to make a start since the All-Star break. So he's getting a little extra break here after starting the All-Star game. We've already seen him get pulled twice with no hitters. And so, they're watching the number of pitches, the number of innings he's throwing. But if Pittsburgh's in the mix here for a wild card spot, how much do they push it with Paul Skeens? I think that's going to be an interesting story to watch in the second half.
Yeah, I definitely think they have a plan. They may not reveal it totally,
Right.
but they've got things in mind that they want. And, of course, he'll have some input into that as well. Jeff Palermo, really appreciate you joining us this morning. Tell everybody about Tiger Rag Radio, what happens in those 2 hours, and how can people listen to the show each and every Tuesday evening?
Well, Tiger Rag Radio airs from 6 to 8 o'clock on Tuesday nights on Talk1073.com or Talk1073. And then you can also watch the show or listen to the show, excuse me, Tommy, at TigerRag.com from 6 to 8. You can also see some shows there or listen to some shows that we have archived, previous ones. We've had a lot of great guests this summer as we've put a wrap on the LSU baseball season and looked ahead to LSU football. So, 6 to 8 o'clock. I also, of course, my Real Job Louisiana Radio Network. You can hear some of my newscasts in the morning on Talk 107.3, and I do some stuff for WWL, who is one of our affiliates with Louisiana Radio Network. So I'm around there, and I'll see you Friday night, Tommy, for the home finale for the Rougarou. Glad they got 2 games in over the weekend and got a couple of victories. And it should be a fun race to the finish here as they try to catch the Acadiana Cane Cutters for that final playoff spot in the Louisiana division.
Yeah, go to brrougarou.com. And again, this coming Friday night, they'll have a fireworks show in the 7th inning stretch. They'll play the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. Big, important games. They're on the road Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so it's not like they're not playing. And then they'll have that final home game Friday. You and I will be on the call. People can tune in at TexasCollegiateLeague.com. You can go to brrougarou.com and link over to the broadcast and watch Jeff and I do that. Jeff, we hope you have a wonderful day and good job with everything. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds good, Tommy. I appreciate it. Have a great week.